So Bitcoin is still let me not do that over. So Bitcoin is still on a run, and if Bitcoin pulls back, which is of course pretty likely at a certain point after such a run, how hard can altcoins nuke to the downside? I had somebody from the community asking that, and I felt like, man, maybe a lot of people they wonder that, like, because altcoins did not really run with Bitcoin, right? So if Bitcoin now takes a correction, then where altcoins might go? Hello there. Maybe. Let's take a look at it. So, welcome to the Speculation Factory. My name is Menno. Like the video already. Oh, also, even if you don't know if you're gonna like the video, it can't hurt, man. Come on, you just help me out. Subscribe, turn the bell notification on. Check out the private server down below for the private community where I give you my full crypto portfolio, the amounts that I hold, my complete everything. Like, you will know more than my wife does, right? So that's actually true, by the way. I need to work on my relationship. Shit. But do check it out. A lot of interesting things right there. But I figured something in this chart that I felt like, okay, this might be pretty interesting. So let's first take a good look at Bitcoin, right? So if we look at Bitcoin, you can see that, after we stalled out for like 8 months, Bitcoin basically had a run from 67K all the way to 94K. It just made a new all-time high. And green candles in a bull market, it's like the one after the other, right? At a certain point, you will get a good correction. It's just what it is. That's how crypto works. We see that in every bull market. One correction is bigger than the other, but it is known for correcting hard because it also goes up really hard, of course, right? So, what might altcoins do by then? Well, what I did, and this is not based on a lot of history because we just simply do not have that lot of history, right? But if we look in what stage of the market we are right now, it is now at the moment November 2024. 4 year cycle, it seems to be completely intact, right? So I don't want to compare where we are right now to 2022 or anything, right? So let's look at the 4 year cycle. Now, before we do that, because I already kind of found the answer that history gave us, right, when it comes to altcoins. Before we do that, though, um, what might cause Bitcoin to go down that hard? Again, it's just something that happens. It's something in crypto. You need to be prepared. If you are in crypto, you are there because you know that there's a lot of upside, right? So you also need to prepare for a lot of downside. That's just what it is. Um, Chart wise, yeah, I talked about this chart a couple of times right now. And this kind of chart wise could mean that we could see a correction happen, and not just a correction, but a big washout. Because every time that the USDT dominance hit this trend line over the full history, we have seen a 50% plus correction for the altcoin market, right? Now, something that you want to consider though is that it doesn't have to happen today or this week, right? We are there again. Yes, it is definitely by far not the best time to buy, right? That was here or here or here, right? Then again, it doesn't have to happen right away because here as well, we were sitting at this trend line. And if we overlay the altcoin market to when we were sitting at that trend line again as well, you can see that we were there and the altcoin market was sitting at like $170 billion. But as you can see, the moment we kind of bounced off of it, we first ran to $330 billion. And then we just kind of pulled back to that same level as where we were over here. So all in all, it wasn't much difference, right? So it could definitely be that what's happening right now is the same, right? Where we hover on this trend line for a while, altcoins in the meantime go up, then we get a huge crash, which kind of takes us back to the level where we are right now before the real lag is going to happen to the upside. It's possible, right? So it's not that I'm saying correction happens right now, everybody loses all their money. It is what it is. Nice playing. See you on next bull market. That could happen. However, what happens if Bitcoin eventually decides to really cool off? Well, I don't want to make this longer than it needs to be. Let's take a look at that. And again, this is based on history. It's not a guarantee for what's going to happen in the future, of course. That's not how crypto works. So if you're excited, like the video. Here it comes. Sorry, I have some ADHD medicine, and obviously they're having kind of the opposite effect. You should not mix it with a lot of coffee as well, bro. I can guarantee you that. So, it's now November 2024. So let's take a look at around November 2020. This is kind of where Bitcoin had that run up, and it didn't even had a correction really, but it did had a cool off period. You see right there, it was not just green, 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 green. We had a couple of red months, but overall it was still up. It's not even to be called a correction. Here in 2016, around the same period as well, right? Bitcoin, it was kind of running up, and around this period, yeah, not much of a correction. It came a little sooner right here, and it came a little later right there. Here, we kind of went, sideways, actually. What happened, though, to the Bitcoin dominance right there? As you can see, because people ask, like, hey, if Bitcoin takes a correction, altcoins should nuke harder. Kind of depends. It could also be that Bitcoin now had a run-up. The Bitcoin dominance had a run-up. As you can see right here, the Bitcoin dominance just did not really ever in this cycle stopped running, right? It's just constantly going up. We could now enter the phase in crypto where if Bitcoin goes down, the Bitcoin dominance also goes down. And that's still bullish for altcoins, depending on how hard it goes down. As you can see right here, when Bitcoin kind of stalled out, so it even went up actually, right? But it kind of stalled out for a couple of weeks. Bitcoin dominance took a pretty decent hit right here. This was showing like, guys, altcoins are gaining strength against Bitcoin. We really had a good, nosedive-ish little. That was actually quite bullish for altcoins. The next, before that actually, in this stage of the market, it happened a little later, right? It happened here in December of that year, so that lines up with next month. What happened right there is Bitcoin, it was over on an uptrend, but in the first, good major correction, because it doesn't look like much, but from 1150 all the way down to 750, that's a pretty, if we get the same percentage correction right now, everybody would be fucking panicking like that is going to be the end of the world for everybody, right? What happened with the dominance right there? The dominance went only sideways up actually, and that was really the first time for a long time that the dominance took a good hit, right? Also a good hit, sideways, alt season. Here as well, there was a good hit, then we had one last run up, and then alt season. Again, therefore I called it the speculation factory in this case, because this is super speculative. We are now not in the same conditions as where we were exactly 4 years or even 8 years ago. However, it is the stage of the cycle. And we should remember that crypto is very cyclical and money flows from Bitcoin into altcoins. And like I said earlier, it's kind of what we are seeing a little bit at the moment already. If you take a look at the altcoin market right now, it's not that it's now all about Bitcoin, here and there a random altcoin, and only meme coins. If you look, I don't even know how it's looking. Yeah, it's still kind of the same, right? If you still now look at the last 24 hours, if you look at the big gainers in the top 100, it's mostly the older high cap coins, right? Yeah, and I know everything in the top 100 is high cap, but really the high cap and the older coins as well. We have Cardano having the biggest moves, Aptos, Crow, Algorand Bitcoin, Leo token, Stellar. We have one meme coin right here. But then we already go to Polkadot, like Matic, XRP, the Graph. Like these are not the coins that you would expect to really pump, actually, right? Unless we are getting slowly into the phase where alt season is going to start. In my opinion, we are now currently seeing the rotation from Bitcoin slowly into the higher caps, and then it will get into the low caps. I have 2 videos prepared, non-time sensitive videos, because my kids are sick. I'm feeling that I'm getting sick, and I don't want to leave you guys. So I have something for when I die in the coming 2 days, which I think super important videos. And in one of these videos, I give an example of a very interesting happening. Actually, if you look at XRP, everybody is now really bullish. Well, everybody, like, that people are finally bullish again about XRP, right? Why? Because XRP doesn't do shit, and it did shit, right? That's kind of what happened, and it pumped pretty hard. Did it 2x. So I on this channel, I even got a comment like, you should say sorry to the XRP community for mocking them, and I think it was kind of a joke. But I see more people talk about XRP right now. That's kind of interesting, if you ask me, because what actually happened with XRP is on a micro scale of what's going to happen with the rest of the crypto market. Hear me out. What happened with XRP, it had a 2x pump right here. Is that spectacular? Not really, right? It is a high cap, so it stands out. Plus, it stands out because XRP is really known for not doing anything, right? XRP is the coin that just goes sideways, has a huge pump, people sell right away, and it goes sideways again for a way too long time, has a huge pump, gets sold off right away, and sideways again. So therefore, such a pump stands out. But if you look what actually happened, what did happen? That's this. XRP is not interesting. What is interesting is the fact that Bitcoin has been mooning, right? Bitcoin went from 15K to 93K, right? Bitcoin has been completely ripping. Why is XRP now doing something? Because XRP on its Bitcoin pair decided to do something, right? But look where it is. This is like, if you zoom out to what happened before, right? Let's face it, this is nothing. And this is bullish to me because this shows that if a coin decides to move just a little bit on its Bitcoin pair, while Bitcoin is sitting at $90,000, then the dollar pair of that coin already looks like this. And this is a high cap. This is one of the highest caps. This is not even a mid cap or a low cap coin, right? So this shows me, like, guys, if the rest of the altcoin market finally decides to move a little bit on its Bitcoin pair, then on the dollar pair, it goes absolutely crazy if this is already what XRP is doing. So I don't know. That gives maybe if you need a little hopium, because yeah, I know things are still boring. We have some coins popping off here and there, but the altcoin market, as we call it, right? The average altcoin market isn't doing shit yet, right? Well, it starts to kind of flow into the high caps, and again, with such a microscopic pump, right? It is nothing. It is really nothing, and that's about what's to happen. That's what's about to happen to the complete altcoin market, but on a way bigger scale. So I'm going a little off topic, but that's the direction I now choose to do. But if Bitcoin corrects, then yeah, of course, altcoins on the dollar pair could correct with it, definitely. But history has shown us that in this stage of the market, it is the phase where the dominance also goes down. So we might enter the phase in the market where we see Bitcoin having a good correction at some point and altcoins just correcting a little less hard because the dominance kind of toppy right now. Plus, Bitcoin had a sick run up. Of course, it needs to correct a lot at a certain point, right? Altcoins, they barely ran. So what's there to correct, right? If you ask me like, oh, new lows for altcoins, nah, that's off the table a long time ago. in my opinion, on the dollar pairs, right? Yeah, on the Bitcoin pair, they're still sitting at the low. And I want to show you something pretty bullish. It's what I showed once before, but not everybody watches every video. So if you are ready to get your dopamine, I'm selling my house, kidneys, wives, and all that kind of shit for crypto, kind of opium, then here we go, okay? What the altcoin market has shown us is that last year, halfway last year until kind of March, right? This year, altcoins were doing well. It wasn't like top bull euphoria, whatever, but there were altcoins doing 5, 10, 20x's overall. I think that was a little preview of what's about to happen. Why? Well, altcoins, this is the total altcoin market on its Bitcoin pair, right? And this is showing alt season or not. Well, clearly not. But we had this little bear market rally right here. Right? In my opinion, that's what we always see. We you see it right here. We had the run up, showed the market. The market showed us like, hey, this is what we are about to do. You know, take notes. These are the coins that outperformed. This is your preview. Do something with it. And then here's your chance to get into those. And once we hit the trend line, then we give you the real alt season. Here we kind of had the same preview. This is what we're going to do. Take notes. Here's your opportunity, alt season. And it's not really that different this time, right? Preview, take notes, learn from it, write it down, learn. Here's your opportunity, alt season. But what happened right here, actually? Well, altcoins, they moved up against their Bitcoin pair, but again, not much, right? This was not much compared to this, and this was not much compared to this. I think that this is not much compared to what we see next year. Like, I'm pretty sure about that, actually. So, what's the hopium? Well, one, that altcoins will outperform Bitcoin way harder. But even if we don't, this is going to be majorly bullish. Why? Because here we outperformed a Bitcoin at 45K, right? Look where Bitcoin was when altcoins started to outperform Bitcoin back then. This was in the area where Bitcoin had a run up from 26K to 45K, right? And now Bitcoin is sitting at 93K. By the time we start to outperform Bitcoin again, hell, it can even go like, if you ask me, even if it goes down to 60, that would still be super bullish, right? Because altcoins, they mooned when Bitcoin was sitting at 40K. But altcoins just needed to outperform Bitcoin a little bit. Now we are going to see that outperformance with a way more expensive Bitcoin. So, and that's kind of what the market is showing us right now, like with things like XRP, like on their Bitcoin pair, they just have to sneeze, and on the dollar pair, they explode. Right? Guys, the writing is really on the wall, right? What would invalidate this, right? Because theoretically, of course, it could be invalidated. Well, let me tell you this. My chance that this will be invalid is below 2%. You always have to assume that it could happen, but I don't find a reason when it comes to charts, to cycles, to sentiment whatsoever to think that that's realistic. But hey, you never know, right? Crypto is full of surprises. Well, what would invalidate this is either Bitcoin has to go way below 45K, right? That even if we just go here again, that altcoins don't perform better than what they did over here, right? So Bitcoin just has to go to 45K or even less. Yeah. Like, I sincerely, again, I don't want to jinx anything though, because you'll never know, but let's be real, that's not likely to happen, right? The bull market is halfway there. And I think that Bitcoin could have a good correction at some point, and maybe even to 70K if we're going to talk very bearish right here. But I don't see that happen so low. So what else could invalidate this? That altcoins and I think that a lot of people are actually afraid of this, that altcoins never outperform Bitcoin again, right? That we don't do this. That we don't do this. Hell, that we even don't do this, but that we just keep on doing this forever, right? Um, Look, that's also highly, highly, highly unlikely, because if you just think like the money flows in a certain direction, right? It goes into Bitcoin. At a certain point, people, like, we are now at all-time highs. There is nobody that holds Bitcoin which that's in a loss, right? At a certain point, people feel like, yeah, I don't know anymore what the upside really is. It's price discovery. It's not measurable. I want to take more risk. I whatever. They put it into the lower caps, right? Well, now it's the high caps, but then it moves into the low caps, right? That's how money flows. Also, yeah, if you very simply look at this chart, altcoins on their Bitcoin pair are in a lifetime uptrend, basically, right? We constantly, since the beginning of the existence of this in 2014, we have, higher lows and higher highs. Look, I am willing to admit that it won't make, higher highs forever. At a certain point, it will stall out a little bit, probably. But again, to think that we're going to do this is completely the other way around, of course. So if we even go where we were here, yeah, that's kind of crazy, because now Bitcoin has a market cap of $2 trillion, right? This was half of it. This was $1 trillion, right? And altcoins were sitting at a quarter of that, basically. Yeah, if we now go to a quarter of that $2 trillion, that's already like way more, double, of course, right? So we are, I think, now at the stage of the market where people ask, like, well, when are altcoins gonna pump? Where's the money coming from? The money is here already. Even if we do not inject a new penny whatsoever in this crypto market, altcoins can rip, really, really rip, right? Because the crypto market now has $3 trillion in it. $3 trillion. Look, that's funny. If you look at this $3 trillion that we are right now, we were sitting at the same in the last bull market, right? That was the peak. It's comparable, right? Here we were sitting at 700 billion. Yeah, here we were sitting at 700 billion, right? At a certain point, we broke it. And at a certain point, we will break this. But what's funny, if you overlay the altcoin dominance on this chart, you can see that here at the bull peak, where crypto was also at $3 trillion, altcoins dominated that market with around 16% of that, right? Now we are sitting at the same level, but altcoins dominate with 9%. So it is not even, and although there will be new money that's going to flow in, obviously, but it's not a matter of new money flowing into the market anymore. The money is already here, right? It's now a matter of the shift. And that's so interesting, because people are not done with crypto, right? They are not done. They don't look at the market and be like, wow, okay, nice. Thanks for playing. It's over here. Let me take it out. They know, like and with they, I mean the whales, the I don't know, the big players, the people that have been in a couple of cycles earlier, maybe, they know, like, hey, let's not look at that $3 trillion and based on that say that it's somehow over right now. They look at the shift and they just simply look at it and be like, the shift hasn't happened yet. I'm not out yet, right? It's about to happen. It's around the corner. I don't think people, like, of course, at a certain point there will be a crash. There will be We have more players right now. We have Michael Saylor. He owns 1.5% of the Bitcoin supply, something like that. Yeah, if he sells, that's gonna cost something like. But he's probably not gonna sell. But you never know, right? Um, there are, of course, reasons why the market can have a huge crash. But even with that crash, we can like still have altcoins go up because the money has to shift into altcoins. Now, I just think that this is super bullish, man. Um, I showed you this math before, but at the moment, if you missed that video and you need some hopium, you need some whatever, just bear with me right now. Bull with me right now, actually. Crypto market now is $3 trillion. Let's assume that nobody in the world is going to buy Bitcoin in the coming year, or altcoins, or just no new money is coming in for some weird reason, right? No, nothing new. Again, that's not even going to happen. But hey, if the altcoin dominance, and that's right here, if the altcoin market dominance decides to just keep on doing what it does, right? At the lows, we go up in this parallel channel. At the lows, we go up. At the lows, we go up. It always happens in the same stage of the market, basically. If the altcoin market decides to get back to the upside of this range, and let's say dominates crypto market at a certain point with 30%, right? It's not unlikely. Matter of fact, that's the trend. Would be unwise to fight it. 30% of that $3 trillion. It's $1 trillion. Altcoin market now sits at like less than a third of it, right? That will put it here. That's again, if no new money flows into the market, not a cent. This is bearish as fuck, this target right here. But look where it is, way above the previous all-time high. Then it is, of course, up to you to kind of search for where is that money actually going, because hey, here we did not have 20 million meme coins and so many altcoins, etc., right? I do think that if this will happen, basically every altcoin will benefit from it. The liquidity will flow everywhere, of course, a little bit, but there are always losers and exceptions in the market. Like, just in a bull market, not everything goes up, right? Just like in a bear market, not everything goes down. There were always like some outperformers, but the overall altcoin market. So therefore, I would say have a well diversified portfolio and be prepared to look at 20% of your coins and be like, okay, these are probably not gonna make it, right? You don't know which ones, otherwise you would have skipped them. But be prepared to know that 20% of your portfolio probably is filled with coins that are not going to make it, even in a bull market, right? They keep on underperforming. The team gives up, right? Especially in a bull market, because in a bull market, hey, if a team sees that everything is going up except their project, yeah, they might give up, right? But it doesn't really matter. If you have some meme coins, if you have some gaming, if you have some RWA, if you have some AI, if you have some layer one, some DEX coins, whatever, you will be fine. And if you make sure that you have the experience in a certain sector or two, maybe that you have a little more allocation in because you know how it works and you have more conviction in that, that's nice, especially if that's the winning sector, of course, in this bull market. But the beautiful thing about this whole crypto is that every time, every cycle, in every stage of the cycle, there are always people saying, this time is different. Now we have this news and it is not going to happen. And in the last 15 years or however long it is exactly, Bitcoin has always shown, you guys are wrong. We're going to do exactly the same thing over and over and over again. And that's so cool about this crypto market, because it is exactly the same, right? Of course, the cycle from like the road towards the end of the cycle is always different, but the destination is always the same. And we can not only say that for the price movement in Bitcoin or whatever, but we can also say the same for the rotations. Bitcoin, high caps, low caps. That's what it is, right? And that in the meantime, during that rotation, there's always a outperforming sector. True. Last bull market, it was also meme coins at a certain point. It was what was it? NFTs at a certain point. The bull market before that, it was ICOs at a certain point, right? Of course, there are always things popping off. Overall, the rotation does happen, and that's so beautiful about this. We're not gonna win all of us, right? There will be a lot of losers in a bull market, unfortunately, and that's really depressing. I mean, in a bear market, we all lose basically, right? Except the ones who took their profits here. Overall, most people lose in a bear market, but that's what you expect. That's not like that doesn't come as a shock. It sucks, but it's not surprising. In a bull market, everybody expects to win, and that's so stupid about this whole thing. 80% doesn't win anyway, right? They, for what for reasons soever. And the reason we need losers, right? So we can be the winners. And the potential losing players that I see right now are the ones that are again saying that this time is different and that you should not be in altcoins and that there won't be an alt season and that you should only be in meme coins and whatever, right? They will be proven wrong, and once the market pumps, and they really by the time that they are convinced, like fuck, I was completely wrong about it, they ape in at the top, it crashes, they completely, revenge trade, and they mess it up. You, sir, let me tell you this. You didn't went through this whole bear market so far to fuck it up in the bull market, right? That's like the most depressing thing. Therefore, I said like in a bear market you kind of expect to lose, but in a bull market you expect to win, and it would really suck if that's the place where you're gonna lose. Actually, so I don't know. It's gonna be one. I think it's gonna surprise people in a certain way, and a lot of people will mess it up. The ones that don't expect it, they will stay on the sidelines. But also the ones that do expect it, they maybe don't expect it to go up that hard. But like I said, XRP again, everybody's euphoric about it because it did something, right? Yeah, what the fuck, right? But if you look at XRP on its Bitcoin pair, it barely did anything. But that's what I mean, right? Like when Bitcoin is sitting at $90,000, yeah, altcoins they need a sneeze on their Bitcoin pair to explode on the dollar pair, and this is one of the high caps that's already kind of showing that, and that will go to the rest of the market, and it will go harder than you think probably, because there, like I said, there is already just as much money in the market as there was at the top of the 2021 bull market when every altcoin was sitting at way extreme levels that you can now not even imagine. The money is already there. It's just sitting in Bitcoin now. So again, we don't even need new money. We just need the rotation, and the rotation is cyclical, and we kind of start to see that. So I'm pretty excited, man. Let me know what you think about this in the comments down below. I need to de-coffee from today, or I need to puke out some meds because I'm hyped. I'm too hyped. So thanks for watching. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to turn the bell notification on because I will stalk you every single day in this bull market, whether you like it or not. And I'll see you guys very soon. Bye.